All right. So we all know what a coach is. Most people think of it in terms of sports, football, running drills, the gamut. But how does coaching practically look when it comes to businesses?
Yeah, that's a great question because coaches on the soccer field or the football field or whatever kind of field playing pickleball or your cross country coach, the coach has a very specific role that they play on the team, but they're not actually on the field running the drills or actually on the field playing the game. A coach is separate from the team so that they can oversee or provide oversight into what's going on in the field that maybe individual players can't always see. And that's why it's really helpful in the context of business, is because when we're running our business, sometimes we're so caught up in the day to day, we miss the analogy, if you will, we miss the forest through the trees. We're so caught up in that individual sale or that individual problem, or we're running after another fire to be put out so that our business can last for one more day or one more week, that we don't make the time or we don't set the time for us to actually build our businesses. Yeah. And so a coach at a sports team will typically come alongside the players to help them be the very best that they can possibly be in the role that they are given. The coach can provide frameworks and tools for them to be the best, whatever position they're in, the best quarterback, the best point guard, the best postman, the best wide receiver, and helps them remember what their role is and holds them accountable to that. So in the business world, we want to help invite customers and invite business owners to really think about moving and transitioning from being the doer to the leader.
That's good.
That can be a really hard distinction because typically, right, we start our business because we love doing whatever it is that we do. Right. Or we found a need and said, I could probably do it better than the other guy. Let's be real. So many business owners I've talked to started their business because they were once an employee of a business owner in that industry, and they said, I could probably do this better than that guy. I could do this better than that person, than that gal. So then they go out and they do their own thing, and then they get to know the whole gamut of running a business.
Right.
They realize they have to lead people, they have to manage people, they have to do operational tasks like create lead gen or work through marketing or manage bills, understand cash flow. And that's just a lot. There's a lot for them to do. And so a coach coming in for a business specifically helps them really take the complexity out of running their business and provide simple playbooks in order for them to run and essentially grow their business. Just like a coach on the field, they come with their playbook, they come with their plays that they will run that they know are true, and then they empower the players to run those on the field. But they're not on the field doing that every single time. Right. They're actually helping train and coach them to use those plays that will help them essentially be the best that they can be.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, thanks for running with that metaphor. That was very.
Yeah, I picked up the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, we'll just keep going with that metaphor the rest of the time. Let's put in every sport pun we can. So I think you probably started to touch on this, but how is coaching different from consulting? I feel like consulting is more a term that people are familiar with, especially in the business world. So what sets it apart? Like, what makes this avenue more or less effective versus a consultant?
Yeah, I think again we'll continue to go along the analogy of sports because that is helpful, and that's where my brain thinks. Not that I was good at sports growing up, but I watch
You're good at everything.
I watch a lot of sports. Here's the difference. A coach, again, is standing on the sidelines and encouraging and cheering on the team to go do the thing that they've been practicing all week. Okay. A consultant would be one that runs on the field and takes the position of that player and says, I'm going to run this until you can figure it out yourself.
Okay.
So a consultant is going to be somebody that is delegated a task to, given a project that they have to manage, a team to build, software to implement, a problem to solve. They do it, and then they hand it back to the business at a set period of time.
Okay.
A consultant has a begin date and an end date. They have agreed upon metrics and what success looks like. And then at the end, it needs to be handed off to another person or team. Sometimes consultants can be hired on later on as an employee to then own that project, that department, that end result. But a lot of times consultants come in to do a project and then they leave.
Okay.
So
then how would the relationship with a coach
Yep.
and a business look different?
So a coach would come alongside the business owner and say, you can do this. Let me empower you to accomplish the tasks that you need to do.
Yeah, but in the long run.
Yep.
You said, a consultant has an end date, but what does that look like for a coach?
So a coach, again, is helping the business owner empower themselves to then run that and then hold them accountable to owning that mission and that vision or that project in the future. So it might include a project, but it doesn't mean that I'm the one that would be running that project for the business owner. Again, the business owner is the hero in this sense. They're the one that's accomplishing their mission. And so a coach is going to come alongside to even help develop that individual. That's another really great distinction between consulting and coaching, is that a consultant doesn't typically focus on the individual people and developing the skills and tools that they need to be successful. They just do the project and get it done. Versus a coach is looking at developing the team, the people, the individuals, so that they can then do it themselves when the project is done, or it continues on with themselves, and then the coach can then hold them accountable to that later.
So more relationally based and maybe more holistic in its approach. Okay.
Right.
So then with in that with that relationship with a business that you create as a coach, would that have not even necessarily have an end date? Would you be a part of that business owner's life, or would you be working with them for a more extended period of time than consultant? Or does that vary? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, typically what I've learned is that people come to coaches when there's a problem. They have a problem with retention, or they have a problem with an individual or a partnership. I just read a book the other day about a business owner who hired a coach that was going through a lot of dynamics, like hard dynamics with their business partner. They didn't know what they were getting into when they first had that partnership. So they hired a coach to help understand why was their business not growing. And the coach then revealed to those two owners that those two partners were not on the same page. They didn't have a joint mission. They didn't have joint goals. And they both wanted something completely different out of that partnership. So the coach spoke into that and then said, you guys got to figure this out if you want your business to grow, or else we're going to continue to have these types of issues. In that instance, the solution that they came to, eventually the coach then stepped out of that business, right? So it was really to help solve that problem.
Okay.
But what I love about coaching the most is coming alongside businesses for the long haul over a longer period of time, so that they can continue to experience the growth that they had experienced previously. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So would that relationship stay professional, or would it just be because you have a relationship with them? Like you keeping tabs on them and their business, add relationship, and just, you know what I mean? Like it's more relationship based versus just like business based for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Right. Every coach is going to come alongside an individual, and there's probably going to be a friendship or a relationship that's built over time. But you want a coach that's going to also call you out.
Right.
That's also going to challenge you to go higher, to be held accountable when, no one is keeping business owners accountable. Business owners don't keep themselves accountable. Like, no employee is going to do that. Mostly because employees have the fear of, well, what if I challenge my boss and he or she doesn't like that? They could lose their job. Whether that's founded or not, it's a real fear that employees will have. So it's great to have a coach that will just call out and ask the hard questions, hold business owners accountable. And so that can be long-term, but you definitely want to have a separation of this is a business conversation in this moment. and we want to help you get to where your mission is leading you.
Okay. So it sounds like if anybody's interested in coaching or coming to you, or any coach for that matter, they need to be open to like having some flexibility with what the actual, results come from this. Like it could be an adapted model for them. It's more customized to, it's not just like, yeah, here's your 4 things that we're going to do over, a month. It's maybe going to look a little bit more flexible.
And it's both, right? Because you don't want to get into a business partnership or a coaching relationship without measurable goals and an end result, right? Like, what is the purpose of you working together and it doesn't achieve what you want? And so the first part is always understanding, what do you want to get out of this?
Okay.
When I've talked to different business owners, they're like, I need to create a mission statement. Like, I just need that. Or our marketing is not clear. Cool. So we set a goal and we say, we're going to go through this framework and we're going to help you develop a clear and simple marketing framework. Others are saying, you know what I'm really looking for? I'm looking for somebody to call me every 2 weeks and say, am I still on task? Am I still holding myself accountable to the goals I want to achieve? Those are different types of coaching relationships. One that has a very clear end date, something that you're producing. Mm-hmm. But then there's others that are like, well, I need you on retainer for a year, for 2 years to talk and make sure that every new product that I'm going to release, we're hitting your framework.
That's great. What I love hearing about that is that it's custom. Like, it's not a one size fits all. It's what do you actually need? It's not like you're just coming with, well, this is just how I do it. Sorry if you don't need that.
Well, every business is unique. Right. We're all like having to solve the problem that our unique businesses solve.
Yeah.
We created a product, we launched a business because there's a problem in the market that we know that we can solve. But that doesn't mean that the same framework will work in the same way for everybody.
Yeah, that's good.
And so what's really great is that, yes, we have frameworks because you have to have frameworks. You have to have fences in order to know what land you need to build on. Mm-hmm. So we create boundaries, we create the structure, and then we say, okay, how do we adapt it for your needs? Or in the case of a couple of years ago, right, we all had to adjust with COVID. You still have the frameworks, but now we have to adjust with how does this practically live out now that all our workforce is at home? Or nobody's going to come into my retail establishment. Like, we have to think through how to adjust in today, but then we still need the frameworks in order to even have the ability to be flexible.
No, I see now like the real value in what a coach offers because, so much content and things are out there, resources where people could go and they could get a lot of really great information on what they could do to and apply to their business. But what I'm hearing is a coach offers something that's more custom, that really is meeting even a relational need.
Yep.
But also is willing to, like, it's like having this awesome business book that you sit down and actually get out a conversation with, not just not just read and then be like, great, I don't know what to do with this now. But somebody who's actually a living resource that can provide insight into specific areas of your strengths, your weaknesses, like how do we leverage that? It sounds so much more holistic and helpful than just, here's the tools, go do it,
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but why coaching? Like, what led you to want to do business coaching?
Yeah, I think it's all part of the story that has been my entire life of coming alongside people. But I didn't really know that until a couple of years ago when I was in a sales role and I was selling a piece of hardware to small business owners. And I really wanted to help solve their problems. And I was convinced that a piece of hardware would solve their problems until I got to know what problems they were needing to solve. And so I began to realize that running a business can be incredibly complex. And then as my career progressed, I got to work with some national brands around business partnerships. And as I began to navigate through small businesses, large businesses, they were all trying to solve the same problems. And we needed to create some simple frameworks and take the complexity and really bring it down and make it simple. And so I'm really passionate about helping people see the bigger picture, to zoom out and then break it down into steps to help them achieve whatever mission they're trying to achieve. So I got in coaching because I love people. I love helping people be successful in what they do. And to be honest, I don't think it needs to be as hard as we probably make it. Mm-hmm. And so I want to provide tools to help people be simple, to simplify the work that they already do.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. And I have a unique position because not only do I get to interview you, but I get to live life with you. And it's been amazing to see the development of values and passion and dreams and just what you're driven to do to come to this place now and to see you take the ball and run with it. Got to come full circle with a pun.
Right.
So anyway, this is fantastic. And I hope it's helpful for everyone else to know, to understand better what coaching is and what that means to you and what that actually practically looks like with businesses.